For years, African nations have offered tax incentives as a carrot to attract foreign capital, but the concessions have come at a greater cost than the value they have created.
In the last 11 years or so of ATAF's operations, it is clear that tax incentives primarily are not a consideration for investors, and there are many other things before that. And secondly, for the countries, they've actually been a main source of revenue drain.
Questions are now being raised about the relevance of the policies, especially as new global tax rules could see incentives paid by multinational enterprises in their home nations instead of the countries in which they operate.
Meaning that the country will have lost out twice. They will provide the tax incentives supposedly to attract investment. So at that point, they're losing the taxes. And secondly, the country where these MNEs originate will tax them instead. So they've actually paid taxes, but they haven't paid taxes to the country that provided the incentives.
The discussions come as African nations are trying to maximize revenue collection to boost recovery from the economic shocks caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. In addition to improving domestic resource mobilization, delegates here will also find ways to tackle illicit financial flows, which are hemorrhaging the continent more than $80 billion per year.
Apart from the damaging economic impact of the overall capital flows, they also encourage corruption, they undermine governance, they shrink tax revenues, and expedite global organized crime. In other words, illicit financial flows are a tax on sustainable development.
Collaboration is needed to stem the flows.
Our tax administrators must share information. Our security services must share information. We must digitize so that we can monitor and track the movement of funds. Secondly, our voices must be heard, because we have a challenge where standards are set without our full participation. Global tax decisions are taken without the participation of most African countries.
In order to have a strong voice on the global platform, African nations must be strong in domestic resource mobilization, something delegates here are hoping to give direction on.